Well, good morning, and welcome to the Sunburst Sanctuary. My name's Curtis, and I'm so happy to be able to sit with you this morning for our service of prayer, meditation, and song. Thank you for doing everything that you had to do so you could be with us here today in the temple. We appreciate that so much. And also to those who will join us from afar on YouTube. What a spectacular morning. Wow. So, do you remember your first impression of Sunburst in this location? For many of us, it was driving in through those gates and being struck by the stunning beauty of this land. And coming down the hill and looking out over the fields, which are so beautifully green now after that early rain, and onto the lodge and the temple, and surrounded by these hills, crowned with the oaks, took my breath away. Just as Sunburst honors the lineage of the teachers of the Kriya yoga meditation technique that we teach here, brought to us by Sunburst founder Norman Paulson, which he learned from his teacher Paramahansa Yogananda and the teachers that preceded them. This land itself has a lineage of caretakers, and there really haven't been that many. The Chumash were the first people of this land, and they cared for it, and they were sustained by it for thousands of years. They walked these very lands where we walk now, gathered acorns, willow, so many plants, so many animals. Not all that long ago, really, the Spanish came and displaced the first people. This very land and the surrounding ranches of today were granted by the Kingdom of Spain to the Comandante of the Santa Barbara Presidio, Captain Jose Antonio Julian de la Guerra. And this was in the early 1800s. Captain de la Guerra began the ranching operations that continue through until today here and in the neighboring ranches, and in very many similar ways to the way it began. By 1870, the de la Guerra descendants had lost the land, and it went into the ownership of just two families. And then around 22 years ago or so, Sunburst became the steward of this land. And that includes not just the people who live here, but all who come to visit and spend time with us. So to honor the first stewards of the land, I wanted to share a story that is attributed to the elders of the first people, the Chumash, as retold by Paul Parada. And the title of the story is The Hole in the Blanket. So, quite some time ago, before the appearance of the two-legged, that would be humanity, the rocks, plants, animals were the people of the world. And they talked just as we talk. The world then was a harmonious place in these early days of creation. Each morning when the people woke, they would consider their good fortune and say, "Thank you." They would stop to admire grandfather's sun rise in the morning. They gave appreciation for another day of living and loving. They went about offering the gifts that they had been given, helping each other. They respected each other's differences and learned from them. They only took from Mother Earth what was needed, wasting nothing. The people always stopped to watch grandfather's son go to bed. And they were happy when grandmother moon arrived to shine her soft moonbeams upon them. Each night before sleep, they would count their blessings again and say thank you. As an aside, they were living in gratitude, which is the topic for today. So those early days of peaceful world coexistence lasted many, many passings of the moon. And then one day, the rock, animal, and plant people started to forget. Rising to a busy morning, they forgot to greet grandfather's son. They forgot to offer their appreciation. The people became jealous, thinking others possessed more. Greed overtook their hearts. They began to disrespect Mother Earth. Taking all they could from her, they thought only of helping themselves. The people let themselves get so busy they even failed to notice grandfather's son going to bed. And they forgot entirely about grandmother moon. The people separated into their own tribes, and after a time, even fought among themselves. They separated more and more, arguing, hating, hurting one another. The Creator had been watching and finally said, "Enough," throwing a blanket over the whole world. The world fell into darkness, and the people were frightened. The plant nations withered. Clean waters stopped flowing. Each tribe did what they could to remove the blanket. The stone people and the tree people were just not tall enough. The swimmers would paddle as fast as they could and leap from the water, but they couldn't reach the blanket. The four-legged jumped and climbed without success, and even the flyers could not reach the blanket. The tribes agreed to come together in council. All the tribes were present. Members went into the circle to tell of their efforts to remove the blanket of darkness. Even Eagle, who could fly the highest and closest to Great Spirit, had failed. The people were hopeless and afraid. They called out for help. Some kneeled to Mother Earth. Others raised their arms to Father Sky and Great Spirit, and they prayed. Then a small messenger entered the inner circle of the council. It was Hummingbird. Some people laughed at the thought that this little bird could be of any help at all. But in council, every voice is heard. And Hummingbird said, I will get on top of Crow. Crow will get upon Owl. And Owl will stand upon Eagle. Eagle will fly high until exhausted, then Owl, then Crow. And when Crow tires, I will fly as high as I can. Maybe we can reach the blanket. The people were inspired when they heard what Hummingbird had to say. They had hope. They began to remember the importance of everyone, each offering their own special medicine. Even the smallest can bring great gifts. So the bird tribes agreed to try Hummingbird's plan. The birds climbed one on top of the other, and they took off. Eagle flew higher than ever before, and when he could fly no more, Owl took off. And then Crow. Crow was flying so high, his wings began to ice. And finally, Hummingbird launched. She flew straight up as fast as she could, till her beak went right through the blanket, and she was stuck. Hummingbird hung there for a while, resting, before she shook herself and fell and then flew back to earth. The people all looked up, and they saw the small point of light where Hummingbird pierced the blanket. They were so grateful. They remembered more and began working together, cooperating. All the bird tribes worked together, and the hummingbirds kept piercing the blanket. The other tribes gathered food and water, and then one day, Hummingbird made it all the way through the blanket. The Creator saw this and said, "This is the way the people should be living. Honor has been restored to the creation." Creator removed the blanket, and again, the world was a peaceful, happy place. The people said thank you every morning. They respected Mother Earth and enjoyed each other's differences. They always remembered to stop and say goodnight to grandfather's son, saying thank you again each night before sleep. And now, each month when the moon is full, we see the hole in the blanket and are reminded how important it is to express our gratitude for all we receive, to respect each other and Mother Earth, to work together to help each other, and to seek the special medicine that each of us has to offer. Let's go into our quiet time now. If you have a meditation technique, please use it. If you don't, you just may want to relax into the truth that this ancient story has for us. Breathe a little slower and deeper than normal. Feel the movement of your body with the breathing. And let these images bring you to the heart of gratitude. Welcome back. As I became part of life here at Sunburst, I developed a brand new awareness of gratitude because I was so thankful to be a part of this experience. Here we honor the 12 principal virtues and strive to develop each virtue within us. And this month, we're in the virtue of courage. It was the ancient Greeks who gave us the word virtue, and they have written volumes about all the virtues and the all-important part they play in developing a fulfilling life. The philosopher Cicero considered gratitude to be not only the greatest of all the virtues, but the parent of all the others. Now that's also the theme of the hole in the blanket story. Remember, it all started going downhill when the people stopped saying thank you, when they stopped appreciating what they were receiving and stopped expressing their gratitude to one another. At every moment, we're involved in this sacred circle of exchange. We're breathing in, we're breathing out. The gases we breathe out are welcomed by the plant and tree people, and of course they give us back the oxygen that we need to survive. We gaze out, we're gazed upon. We speak, we listen, we love, and we are loved. The ocean tides move in and out. Heavenly bodies seem to rise and set before our eyes. The constant circle of sacred exchange. What about when we receive grace, a gift undeserved, a favor from a friend, or a compliment? How do we complete the circle of sacred exchange in those instances? And we do it with gratitude, of course. When we open our eyes and we see the beauty around us, we can thank the Creator for that. When someone does something for us, we can make sure that we express our gratitude and let them know how much we appreciate it, whatever that act or word or kindness may have been. So expressing gratitude completes the sacred exchange, and it also encourages the behavior that we're grateful for. Maybe you've done something for someone, a small gesture, and when thanked, you were also told how much that meant to the person, how they were touched. Maybe it triggered a wonderful memory. That's going to encourage us to do that again and again, and the circle will expand and widen. We send a wave of gratitude back to the source of the gift, completing the circle. There is a difference between being grateful and being polite. One of the first couple of words that we were all taught and we teach our children is to say thank you. And I can remember times when I was a kid forgetting to say thank you and being reminded by a grandmother, a grandfather, or a parent, and offering up a perfunctory thank you, and off I go. Not really gratitude. Gratitude is such a deeper quality than merely being polite. Gratitude recognizes the value of another being. Silent gratitude can also complete the circle. We can strive for unconditional gratitude in response to the unconditional love that the Creator has for us. Gratitude can also be a spiritual solvent. Gratitude has the ability to dissolve away every negative emotion. Sometimes I can be hard on myself when I forget something. And then when I'm finally reminded, my first impulse tends to be irritation or anger with myself that I forgot in the first place. And of course, what I've overlooked in that regard is that I was reminded. That's how I knew I forgot, right? And so I should be grateful for the reminder. And I've tried to make it a practice to do that. And you know what? It really works. The gratitude for the reminder dissolves that irritation, which unchecked, for me, will turn into anger. But the gratitude will dissolve that away. And I'm happy that I was reminded. And it can work like that with many of the other negative emotions. Worry and concern over the unknown can dissolve in gratitude for what is. And I get great comfort in that as well. Paramahansa Yogananda offered a few thoughts about gratitude and thanksgiving in different places in his writings, and I've come across a few of those. He said every day should be a day of thanksgiving for all the gifts of life, for sunshine, water, and the luscious fruits and greens which we receive as indirect gifts from the great giver. He said, when the summer of good fortune warms my tree of life, it easily burgeons with fragrant blossoms of thankfulness. During winter months of misfortune, O Lord, may my denuded branches changelessly waft toward Thee a scent of gratitude. And then your trials did not come to punish you, but to awaken you. The New Testament shares a similar thought in the verse that says, "And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good." When we gather more than a handful of years, it's a little easier to see the truth in some of those statements. How the bad times and then how the challenging times contained within them the seeds that we needed for progress into today. I would like to offer a prayer. Divine Spirit, thank you for this gathering on this sacred land. Thank you for the original stewards of this land. May we follow in their love and respect for this motherland and her children, the very rocks and stones, those who fly, those who run and climb, those who crawl, and those who swim, and for all the two-leggeds with whom we share your creation. Please expand our awareness of gratitude. It is always our choice, and may we choose to let it flow always and in all circumstances. Amen.
When I hear the Om as I still my mind, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When I see your light as I meditate, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When I feel your love in the garden of peace, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When each face I see shines just like the sun, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When virtue rules and guides our lives, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. I still my mind. Heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When I see your light as I meditate, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When I feel your love in the garden of peace, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When each face I see shines just like the sun, heaven is here, heaven is here, heaven is here right now. When